Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Home Depot off of Custer Road in McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting the like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That's the fastest and most direct way to get in touch with me. And you already know, plant foldies. And for those that are new to my channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. My name is Richie. I love interacting and engaging with each and every one of you about plants. So as you can see right over here, I did go to this Home Depot, and it is fall season. It is the second week of October. Temperatures have started to cool down just a bit out in North Dallas, which is where I am based at. And you can see whenever it is fall, we definitely see a bunch of chrysanthemums or mums. These are these beautiful mounding planters of mums. And you can see this one right over here is the tricolor one, where they have multiple different colors of mums mixed into a pot. I really love the look of that. And you know, I am super tempted to buy a bunch of mum planters as well as crotons, but the thing about it is I may not actually have the time to take care of these plants. A couple of updates in terms of just what I am going to be up to the next week. I will be going to the Texas Aroid Show out in Houston, Texas, October 26th. It's that Saturday from 11 to 6. I'm super excited because Texas Aroid Show chose me as becoming a plant influencer. So I will be super busy with that. And with the holidays coming up, things have just been super busy at work. So I haven't been nearly as consistent about getting that plant content. So I appreciate anybody that has been able to at least team replay some of my plant videos, as well as just tuning into the live premiere chats. Really appreciate it. But it is a late afternoon. I just got off of work and I decided I would go ahead and film this Home Depot since it was on my way back to where I'm based at. You can see right over here we have a bunch of crotons, and if you go to any big box store, you will see that there are going to be crotons readily available at these big box stores, as well as marigolds. And you know what's interesting about marigolds is, and this is just something that I recently learned, is marigolds are actually part of like the Day of the Dead holiday. You can see right over here that there is a little bit of description of what you guys could use the marigolds for Day of the Dead if you celebrate that. But as you can see here, beautiful, really just nice bright orange color on marigolds. You know, that is a flower that I grew as a kid from seed. And you know, the thing about marigolds is you can actually do a lot of things with the blooms. Some people will actually make marigold tea, where you will actually grow the actual flowers and then dry it, sun dry it, and then just steep it in some hot water, and you have some marigold tea. Would really love to do that, because marigolds are actually, or the blooms are actually full of beta carotenes, which are really good for your eyesight. So you know, some random facts that I've learned and acquired over the years by just growing plants. And you can see there's just so many beautiful fall colors. We see a lot of crotons, and you know, I talk about crotons. These ones are for $19.98. What I like about the crotons is it is just a beautiful plant. Some people hate them, some people love them. I absolutely adore them. I love them and wish more people would grow crotons. But the only thing about crotons is it is a challenging plant to grow indoors long term, because croton plants need a lot of light. They're also a pretty thirsty plant. I just learned that, and maybe that's the reason why a lot of my croton plants, whenever I tried to grow them indoors, actually ended up dying and going to plant heaven. So that's probably the reason why. But if you're going to grow croton plants, I would highly suggest growing them outdoors in a very bright space. But as you can see right over here, I'm going to walk by this area just to show you that October is not even over. Thanksgiving and Halloween haven't even come around, and we have full-blown Christmas trees. I swear big box stores are just always trying to get ahead of the season. You know, we're a very much consumer-based culture, I suppose, in the United States. And you can see right over here, we do have a bunch of Christmas trees. I did want to ask, for those that celebrate Christmas, when do you actually put up your Christmas trees? What type of Christmas tree themes do you have? If I were to do a Christmas tree theme, it would definitely be a a mixture of my origami paper cranes and, just a little bit tidbit. The reason why I call my YouTube channel Grow Folds is because I actually started this as an origami ASMR channel where I was folding origami paper cranes daily. My goal, and is a fun fact about me, is I actually fold paper cranes every single day, and I have been folding for a good 7 years, maybe 8 years, in the hopes of being able to make 1 million paper cranes in my lifetime. So we'll see about that. But anyways, going back to the plants, you can see right over here, this is a beautiful alocasia, and I don't know the alocasia plant ID for this, but what I really love about this alocasia is it has that beautiful purple, silver, metallic look about it. Very nice, shiny alocasia, and it's a really good price. It's the Home Depot Plant Club Buster price for $29.98, but look at how large the leaves are. I would love to be able to grow something like this in my space, but there's a couple of things that are going to deter me from actually putting this in my space. Number one, it's an alocasia. Number two, it is a large plant. So, as far as alocasia, I am not opposed to growing alocasia. Honestly, I have found the right substrate to grow alocasia. For me, it is growing them in semi-hydroponics. So I grow them in pond, and they've been doing very well. But the bigger factor for me is I really can't add any more large foliage plants into my plant collection because I just don't have the space in my home. But, for those that have large houses or somebody that has tall ceilings, that would be a beautiful plant to add in a plant collection. And maybe someday I may buy a bigger house, who knows. I am trying to retire so I don't have to work nearly as much, and I would be able to just enjoy plants. And for those that are retired, for those that have a little bit more time to grow your plants all day, every day, I am super envious and hope that I can get to that point in my life as well. The thing about plants, and I am talking more so outside of what the plants we're looking at, but for me, growing plants is very, very much so therapeutic, and I always, encourage all of our viewers that watch Grow Folds plant videos. I mean, a lot of these plants you've seen yesterday, the day before, last week. These are big box store plants, so you will see Monstera deliciosas, you will see Dracaenas, you will see Syngoniums, you will see pothos. But a lot of the messaging I would like to have for those that actually give me the time and invest the time to watch my daily plant shopping videos is utilize plants to really enhance your life, whether it's to give you better routines, because it's been proven that, taking care of plants actually get you a little bit more disciplined to follow a routine. I could do better on my routines in terms of just, watering my plants in general, but I've been better at that. Also for your just mental health and well-being. And, that's a topic that some people might find taboo, but I really do believe that if you're, suffering from stresses, anxieties, depression, things of that nature, I'm not a doctor or anybody professional in that sense, but I do find that plants find a soothing comfort for it. So for me, a lot of my plants, besides just doing the big box or plant shopping videos for you guys daily, I've always utilized plants to really just enhance my lifestyle, whether it's my mental health or my well-being. Just having plants in my daily life gives me a sense of accomplishment, because when you're able to grow plants like this, for instance, that Aglaonema Silver Bay, that is a bit of a slower growing plant, but to get it to that size is amazing. And then for those that actually tuned into my best friend Isaac's plant collection, where I basically had an hour-long conversation about his plants, we talked about what plants he was growing. It was just impressive to see that somebody like Isaac, a fellow plant foldie, and really more so my brother, my best friend of 25 years, has gotten into plants, and just to see the joy of his plants. He may not have the most rare or uncommon plants, but what he does have is a really good easy care routine. I'm still impressed that he's able to grow a Hydra Helix and some calatheas, alocasias with very minimal care. So that's one of those success stories. And as far as the plants that you see at Home Depot, This one right here is an Acer palmatum. This is a Japanese maple, and that's another thing that I definitely want to feature more of next year, especially in the spring, is Japanese maples. It's one of my favorite type of trees to grow. My actual favorite type of tree is actually a ginkgo biloba, but you know, we can talk about that another time. But you can see that this Home Depot may not have nearly as many plants available. They do have some more alocasias. That one was an alocasia regal shield, and obviously if you go to a big box store, you will always find an Epipremnum aureum or a pothos plant. This one is a golden pothos. Love golden pothos, and I love golden pothos because number one, they are cheap and inexpensive houseplants. Number two, they're readily available, and then number three, there's so many different varieties of plants or pothos plants to choose from. I am in my era where I am propagating plants left and right. I'm probably out of season because, you know, with all these plant propagations, you have to find a place to keep these plants. And with winter coming, winter is coming. For those that actually watch Game of Thrones, there is a, there's a little bit of a panic for me because I don't know where I'm going to house a lot of my plants. I know a lot of my coleus plants, for instance, have been growing outdoors. I doubt I'll be able to grow all of them indoors because number one, I don't really have the space. And then number two, it's just too many plants to take in and too many plants to take care of. You know what? What's made it easier for me to grow, for instance, my coleus plants, is I have a self-watering sprinkler system that just has made watering easier. But as you can see here, though, plant foldies, as we look at all of these Home Depot big box store plants, you can see that we have some beautiful crotons, croton mame, croton petras. So many different crotons, and for those that haven't seen the more uncommon or rare crotons that you can find from Thailand and Indonesia, definitely check out some of those Indonesian and Thai importers or exporters of crotons. You will be amazed about all of the other crotons that are readily available in Southeast Asia. And that's the thing, a lot of these plants, it's just very interesting for me to see crotons being marketed as a fall plant when really its natural habitat is hot, humid, tropical environments such as the Philippines, which is where my family is originally from. I say this in all my videos, but whenever I went to the Philippines back in August for a vacation, I was just impressed with the amount of plants that we see at big box stores that are just thriving in the jungle, on the side of the road, you know, as planters in the skyscraper, just so many places and with very minimal plant care. And you talk about a minimal plant care plant, love an Aglaonema red siam. And you know, Aglaonema red siam, I actually have a future episode where I ended up rescuing a couple of Aglaonema red siams. It is probably the second or most common Aglaonema. It depends on your opinion whether you think the Aglaonema silver bay or the Aglaonema red siam is common, but both plants are readily available. And these plants, especially with the Aglaonema, that is such an underrated plant. And, you know, I'll tell you my motive in terms of trying to plant influence everybody. If you are a grow folds plant, plant foldie, or you call yourself one, please, please, please consider growing Aglaonema. Even start out with an Aglaonema red siam. There are so many beautiful varieties of Aglaonema, but what really shocks me is the fact that these are beautiful plants, but you don't really see a lot of people trying to collect Aglaonema. And so for me, if I'm able to feature more Aglaonema, I definitely will do so. There is, something about just growing Aglaonema, and that for me, it's just the different varieties of colors, shapes, textures of the leaves, and it is a plant that can be fussy if you don't give them the right plant care tips, but it's actually a very easy plant. It is low light tolerant and it's drought tolerant. So those are 2+ factors for Aglaonema. Now over here, beautiful bromeliads, and bromeliads, again, these are plants that you can also see at a lot of big box stores. The cool thing about bromeliads is there are multiple varieties of bromeliads, so you're not just going to be stuck with just a common bromeliad. There are many different colors, many different varieties. Such a beautiful plant. And again, bromeliads again are another underrated plant. There's just so many underrated plants, and for me, Sometimes the underrated plants are the plants that you really want to collect because they're out of people's radars. That means that they're more readily available and they're most likely going to be more cost effective. And as I do my plant shopping videos, you already know, plant foldies, that I will not buy a plant if I know that the plant pricing is not right. If the price is right for the plant, I'm going to buy it. Like for instance, this one is for $7.98 for a Sansevieria of some sort. This is the Sansevieria trifasciata. It's a decent price. I would actually buy it because it's not that expensive. And that's a plant that is very challenging to actually send to plant heaven. Like you legit have to neglect it. And even then when you neglect it, sometimes it ends up thriving even more so. And we have some more Hoya carnosa. This one is a crimson queen. Love the white edges of the leaves. You know, beautiful variegation. You know, the Hoya carnosa, it is a common I guess Hoya that you could find at a big box store. That's the one thing I would say about big box store plant shopping is you don't see nearly as many Hoyas. I would love to see more Hoyas, but unfortunately they're just not as readily available. And that's only the drawback about, you know, big box stores is there's just not as big of a selection. Sometimes you might find some Costa Farms exotic angel hanging baskets of Hoyas that may not always be the carnosa, but as in general, I haven't seen a lot of Hoya selections. And I'll tell you, Hoyas, there is a whole new world of followers of people who love Hoyas. They call themselves Hoya heads. I almost became a Hoya head, but then I kind of slowed down a little bit. Right now I am in my Aglaonema phase again, as well as my Syngonium phase. But you can see right over here, plant foldies, this is a black rabbit's foot fern. Love this you know, this fern, but the thing about it is I don't have this fern in my collection. I have been told that it is a little bit more easy to grow. And then you can see right here, Peperomia Rousseau. This is one that I've actually seen at grocery stores as well. This one is only for $10.98. Now, as far as Home Depot plants, I have to ask plant foldies, do you shop more so at Home Depot for house plants, or do you go to Walmart, or do you go to Lowe's? I have actually bought more plants actually as of late at Lowe's, just because I felt like Lowe's has had a little bit more in stock of plants, but Home Depots have also actually had a lot of plants in stock. The one big box store that hasn't had as many plants in stock, at least in the North Dallas area, would be Walmart. So I'm hoping Walmart might bring in some more plants, but you can see here for $10.98, we do have a Hoya carnosa, Crimson Princess, beautiful plant. I have a nice 8-inch hanging basket of Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess, beautiful plant. And if you notice that it's got some nice pink sun stressing, that is what a result of just getting the plant a little bit more light than it is actually needing, but it's not necessarily hurting the plant. So for Hoyas, certain plants like succulents actually have beautiful coloration when they're a little bit more sun stressed. You know, a little stress in your life, I suppose, isn't going to really damage, you know, yourself or the plant, but you know, it is about just managing the amount of light you give a certain plant. Like this one right here, it's not sun stressed, beautiful color though on this Hoya carnosa right there. $10.98 again, and for me, $10.98, that's not a bad price for a Hoya. And when you start to really dig into plant pricing, you know, and maybe I'll do more of a feature episode on what I feel like is the right price for the plant. You know, there's this, you know, natural assumption that big box stores will have the more cost-effective plant pricing. I would say in general, yes, but if you go to local nurseries, plant shops, small businesses, you may find them as well. And we'll see what that, you know, entails in future videos. So that's something that I want to work on. I do want to continue to just show you all of these Hoya carnosa. Look at how gorgeous this is. And then, you know, for $14.98, this is in a 6-inch planter. That's not a bad price for it. You know, for me, Hoyas in general are easy to care for plants. Take a look at that sun stressing on this particular Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. Beautiful variegation. And again, this is a pretty cost-effective plant easy to care for too. And then you can see right here, we've got a bunch of Sansevieria. This one is for $7.98. And for me, Sansevieria trifasciata, they're an easy plant as long as you can get the watering right. Like, yes, they are drought tolerant, but you still need to water them. What I would say for Sansevieria is you can let it water it soak it completely with water, and then let it dry out, and then just let it dry out for a little bit longer, and then soak it back up with water as well. I think that is like my watering routine when it comes to snake plants. And then you can see right here, we've got a bunch of proven winter plants. This one is a Ficus elastica burgundy, and it's another ficus plant. And we already know with ficus plants, you need to make sure that you're giving it quite a bit of light in order for it to really do well. Otherwise, it becomes unhappy. Its growth slows down. For the Ficus elastica, they don't drop their leaves, but they definitely slow down in their growth. And then they don't always have the best coloration when they don't have that bright light. And you can see there is an assortment of proven winter plants. Now, proven winter plants, it's really exciting to see that they're getting more indoor tropical plants or house plants. Proven winter typically has more outdoor gardening plants, but as you can see here at a big box store like Home Depot, you can find a bunch of proven winter indoor tropical plants. They have many different varieties of ficus plants. This one is a Ficus Audrey. Love the Ficus Audrey just because it does have that velvety texture on the leaves. And then you can see there's a bunch of rubber trees or Ficus elastica right over here. But as you can see, even though it is a little bit colder now, it is the fall season, I'm happy to say that at least Home Depot is maintaining the amount of plants, indoor tropical plants that they have. I'm just going to pan over here. This is a Ficus elastica taniki, beautiful plant. And then right over there is a ruby. And then you can see right here, this is one of my favorite cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. This one is the kiwi, or what you also call the harlequin. Beautiful cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. The thing is, I wish I could grow this long-term indoors, but I would caution anybody trying to grow cordyline plants indoors. They are very much spider mite prone. So if you do bring them indoors, you want to make sure that you're staying on top of your pest preventative control. And then over here, we have what you call full hydroponic plants growing in water. This one is a Syngonium, and these are for $19.98. Now, if you're going to ask me my honest opinion about the hydroponic or the Leaf Joy Bowl series, if you find them on sale, usually they'll be like 50% off. I would say that the price would be right. Now, to pay $19.98 for this, it is a little bit steep. So if you are not willing to pay that, I totally understand. They are beautiful plants. You can see they have a Monstera adansonii right over here. And there is a little bit yellowing on the leaves. But if you look at the roots are nice and white. They're super thick. And that's what you want to see whenever you're growing plants in straight water. Now, if you have, black mushy roots, there is a problem. That's just root rot, and you're going to have to cut back those roots. But you can see right here, this is a Calathea Beauty Star, and I love Calatheas, the look. The problem is with Calatheas, even when I grew them in straight water, I still had issues. I still ended up getting spider mites. So for Calatheas, you really just, I would say that long term, to be able to grow them successfully, you have to have them in areas that give them quite a bit of humidity, at least 60-65 plus humidity. Otherwise, they start to brown up, they start to crisp up, they start to have issues, unless you are my best friend Isaac, where he's able to grow like Calatheas in not so humid environments. I don't know what it is about his space or what it is about his plant care, but he is doing awesome with his hard to grow plants, Calatheas, Alocasia, and that Hydra helix. So plant foldies, if you did not watch the conversation I had with my best friend Isaac, please check it out. It is a 1-hour conversation we had about his plants. It was a house plant tour, and I would love for you to see his plants. For those that actually tuned in and watched his video, as well as just the feature I had on this channel, really appreciate it. I do want to do more features of other plant foldies collections, so I'm trying to diversify the plant content on this channel. So please make sure you connect with me either via Instagram right now, direct messages, if you're interested in me filming your plants. But to get back to the plants of this Home Depot, you can see this is a Trade Scanthia, feeling flirty, beautiful plant. plant. Again, this is another one that I like because it does have that pink coloration. You know, I love pink plants. Can I get a like for this video if you like pink plants? Definitely let me know what pink plants you like. And then this philodendron I do want to buy at some point. This is a philodendron red sun, a legit philodendron red sun. There was a red sun that I ended up buying at Kroger, but it was mislabeled. I think it was either some kind of neon yellow philodendron that was mislabeled, but this is definitely the philodendron red sun. I like the look of philodendron red sun because of the new leaf that unfurls. And then you can see right here, this is a Phalaenopsis orchid for $16.98. It's more of a miniature variety, but look at how beautiful that is right there. Now for Phalaenopsis orchids, their blooms usually last for a month. So you can see that this one will have the blooms for a little while. As far as Phalaenopsis orchids, bright indirect light is best. You want to keep them more so on the drier side. You can see that their roots are actually exposed. They are more like epiphytes, so they don't necessarily need to be in a substrate. I would say if you're going to grow them in a substrate, you definitely want to put them in like orchid bark. But as far as putting them in soil, that is a big no-no. Now, as a philodendron red sun, again, you can see that the new leaf is unfurling. It's got the nice bronze look about it. You know, bronze, dark color, foliage is another, you know, color texture that I like in plants. They definitely grab my attention. And for this one is for $19.98. Beautiful plant. I wish it was a little bit less. I would say if it's in the $15 range, I would totally buy that. I would say that that would be the price is right for me. But as I pan away over here, plant foldies, beautiful plants, not the biggest selection, but it's enough to where there are some interesting plants. And I'm just going to walk through and show you the fall decorations as well as some of their outdoor plants, outdoor garden plants. So let's walk over here. And as you can see, there are plenty of outdoor plants for the fall planting season. You can see that coleus plants are back and in stock, super strong. You can see that this one is for $16.98 in a barrel type planter. You can see this is some type of coleus with the purple foliage. These ones are going to need to be in more bright indirect light or shade. And then cyclamen tend to come out at this time of the year. You know, when it's colder climates, that's when cyclamen start to pop out. You can see there is a sea of creeping jenny, really nice green foliage, and the purple shields plant. So here's the thing about purple shields. Love the look of the plant. It's just a challenging plant to grow long-term indoors or even outdoors. I don't know if I haven't figured out just the care tips for it, but it does start to crisp up for me. This one is for $16.98 by Proven Winners. I really love the dark foliage. I think that it is truly a purple plant. Love the look of that. But, you know, I ask any of our plant foldies watching this video if you've been able to grow purple shields long term. I have not, and I wish I could because it is such a beautiful plant. I don't know what I'm doing wrong to where I can't grow it even outdoors. And that's actually a crazy thing to say because typically when you bring a plant outdoors, they tend to perform better. But I'm going to just pan around here and show you the plants they have available at this Home Depot for the outdoor section. It is fall season, so chrysanthemum mounds are just all over big box stores. You can find them at grocery stores, but especially at big box stores. I would say the best value I found for a chrysanthemum mound would be at Costco, where they had like twice as big chrysanthemums only for $15. But as you can see right here, these are labeled as garden mums. And the thing about garden mums is you can plant them in the landscape. Depending on your grow zone, they are perennial. So I really love that. Any plant that is perennial means it will grow back year after year. So it is a little bit more cost effective. Now, as far as a marigold, this is not a perennial. That one is an annual, but you can collect the seeds from marigolds. They're really easy to harvest, and you can have a infinite amount of marigold seeds year after year to plant into the ground or in planters. But you can see chrysanthemums, they come in many different shapes, sizes, varieties, bloom textures, you name it. And I just love that they have a natural habit of mounding, so you can actually keep that beautiful shape. And then we're going to walk over here and just take a look at a couple more plants before we go to the next location to go plant shopping. As you can see right over here, they do have some ground cover, and they have some cone flowers or echinacea right over there. Asiatic jasmine, that is a plant that I am hoping to grow indoors long term. This is the green variety. We'll see the variegated ones soon. And then you can see right over here, we have a creepy creeping Jenny. So this one has a nice golden foliage about it. These are probably proven winners, and these are for $6.98. So I'm curious to see if anybody's actually trying to grow this one long-term indoors. I believe that this is more of an outdoor plant, but needless to say, beautiful neon colored plant. Love the look of it. It is a plant that I would definitely add to my collection. I am slowing down a little bit on buying plants because next week on Saturday, October 26th, will be the Texas Aeroid Show. Super excited about that. And if you haven't bought your tickets to the Texas Aeroid Show out in Houston, Texas, definitely check it out. I definitely want to meet any Houston plant foldies. I would love to meet all of you guys there. I am a plant influencer there, so I will be doing a lot of content for the Texas Aeroid Show. So definitely check that out. But as you can see right here, this is a variegated ajuga. Typically, I see the variegated ajuga with the purple, pink foliage, but that one right over that I picked up earlier has more of just a cream variegation. Now these are for $3.98. Really love the look of this plant, and this is a plant that I would actually try to grow long-term indoors. You can see right over here, plant foldies. We've got some Asiatic jasmine tricolor, beautiful ground cover, but I was also thinking that this could potentially be a plant that you could grow indoors. Obviously, I haven't tried growing these indoors yet. I have this actually growing outside in my backyard in a container, but look at how gorgeous that variegation is. Love it. I don't know if this would be able to grow indoors long term, but it could possibly be a trailing plant, a hanging basket type plant. But as I pan away over here, you can see that this Home Depot still has quite a bit of plants to choose from. I love outdoor gardening plants. Like for instance, this one right here, we've got some canna lilies. We've got some type of flowering succulent right here. Let me just pan around here, and you can see plant foldies that even though it is the fall season, I love the fact that our big box stores are attempting to have plants readily available. Look at that lavender pink color for the chrysanthemums. Mums in general, so tempting to want to buy because they are beautiful container plants, but I just figured if I'm going to only grow them as more of an annual plant, it would be something that I want to save my money on as far as like a plant budget. And with Texas Aeroid Show next weekend, October 26th, I'm just gonna save whatever money I have left to be able to purchase those plants. But you can see right over here though, plant foldies, there's still quite a bit of plants to pick from. I love this dark foliage plant right here. This purple potato vine is absolutely stunning. The only thing about growing potato vine plants indoors is they're very much spider mite prone. So unfortunately, as easy to propagate as these plants, like you can take cuttings and root them in water, these are plants that are not necessarily suitable to growing in indoor space unless you're able to repel spider mites either through spraying it with neem oil or having higher humidity levels. But this is another plant just like the cordyline Hawaiian tea plant that needs a little bit more attention if you're going to grow them indoors. I am going to walk over here and show you some other plants, and then we're going to go to the next location. You can see right over here, plant foldies, we've got a gorgeous desert rose, and look at that caudex right over here. This has been here for a while. I'm almost tempted to purchase it so I can like repot it and maybe even make it a bonsai plant. Look at that caudex, that little trunk right there. It's super cute and it looks pretty healthy. This one is for $29.98, which I've been told is actually a really cost-effective plant saving budget plant. So I would definitely recommend buying a desert rose from a Home Depot. And then I'm going to walk over here and just pan out a little bit more to show you some cyclamen right here. Beautiful cyclamen. I actually prefer the cyclamen leaves versus just the full. I like the foliage. What I'm trying to say is I like the foliage more than the blooms. And you can see right here we've got some Kong coleus plants, and I'm just glad to see that there are coleus plants back into the market, at least in the North Dallas area. They kind of disappeared over the summertime, and maybe it's because it was extremely hot, 100+ degree weather, and with the weather just cooling down, it's a little bit more suitable for coleus plants. Kong long coleus have the larger leaf foliage, so that's something that I have been growing. Coleus plants you can grow indoors, but plant foldies, let me know what you think about the coleus plants and just the plants that you've seen so far at Home Depots. I'd really like to see what you think of these plants, like the ornamental kale. They are starting to pop up as well. That is more of a seasonal plant that you can find in the fall, especially in the winter colder months. They are used as a container plant or ground cover. They are considered annuals, but I would love your comments and insights in the comment section about what plants you're seeing over the holiday season. Are you seeing mostly like Croton plants, mums? What other plants are you seeing in the market? I'm hoping to find some Costa Farms new trending tropical releases. It looks like they announced on their Instagram that there are a couple of new trending tropicals, and I will be hunting that as well and definitely trying to get that on film. And lastly, we've got some ornamental peppers here. They kind of look like Skittles candy, super cute. That is another plant that I would see over the fall. But one thing I did want to announce is that I am part of the new plant podcast called Cultivation Corner. If you are not following Janae, Simone, Steven of I Lift Plants, please follow them, subscribe to their YouTube channels, because we will have at least 35 to 40 minute plant podcast episodes that will be uploaded on each of our YouTube videos, our YouTube channels. I already have a Cultivation Corner YouTube list of videos, so that way you can see what our show is going to be about. I'm super excited because I think that a plant podcast is one that you don't really see or hear about, and so we're hoping to get that available. I am going to have a little bit of a trailer that I'm going to pan away and show you, a little commercial to get everybody excited. Please show some support. We also are on Instagram, Cultivation Corner, so check out this little commercial.
Hey, I'm Steve from I Lift Plants, and that's what I do. I lift plants and spirits.
I'm Janae. My passion is to elevate plants with beauty and style.
Hi, this is Richie. I'm always finding cost-effective plant finds at big box stores and local nurseries. And the three of us
make Cultivation Corner.
So definitely follow us on Instagram at Cultivation Corner for the news. And then now we're going to be going to this Callaway's nursery. We're going to go local nursery plant shopping at Callaway's out in Little Elm, Texas. So for those that have been watching my videos, Callaway's is a chain of local nurseries out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. As always, please make sure you're hitting the like button for this video if you've made it this far. So I'm going to pan away and show you all of the bonsai trees that have started to show up at Callaway's nurseries. What I love about Callaway's nursery is that they do have quite a bit of plants to select and choose from. The bonsai looks so good, and they're actually at a decent price. There's many different varieties. You can see right here, that is a ficus, tiger ficus plant. That is a common one that you can see that you can actually grow indoors. Here's the thing about bonsai plants. Most of them need to be grown outdoors. They thrive more so with getting a lot more light, since they are more like outdoor plants that have been put in a shallow container to mimic a miniature tree in nature. You can see that we have another ficus here. We've got another ficus here, and look at that little shape that it has. I love bonsai trees, and for me, I don't really buy bonsai trees anymore because I can create bonsai myself. You can find bonsai material on pretty much any plant, but typically it's going to be more of like you can get deciduous type trees like Japanese maples, or you can get shrub type trees. You can also get tropical plants like chifleras or umbrella plants. You can use ficus plants to make bonsai. Like this one has a really nice curvature on its trunk, and so for me, that is another type of plant content I do want to add to my my YouTube channel eventually, is bonsai. For the longest time, I was actually focused more so on bonsai, but for now I'm just going to go show you a couple of bonsai that are available at Callaway's nursery out in Little Elm, Texas. And you can see right over here that we've got a bunch of Croton Petras. Now, these are for 30% off of all Croton Petras. It is a weekly sale that it seems like Callaway's has done for the last 2 to 3 weeks. Now, as far as Croton Petras, same care tips. I feel like those would do better grown outdoors in a sunny area. They really like a lot of light. They also like water. So for Croton Croton Petra especially, those are the care tips I would recommend. And you can see over here, we've got some starter terrarium type plants. So it looks like we've got some begonias here, we've got some fern, and we also got a Pilea Pan Am. Here is a Ficus triangularis starter plant for $3.99. Really nice looking plant. This one can actually become a bonsai starter. I actually have a Ficus triangularis bonsai that I made this year. It's been living its best life outdoors. And then as I spin around here, you can see that we have more Hoya starters. Really like that as well. And I haven't fully started my Hoya era, but it's coming there. Now, Anthurium era, yes, I am actually all about the Anthuriums, and super excited because I ordered a couple of Anthuriums from our flower garden, and also the Green Spaces ID. Those are both Indonesian vendors out at the Texas Aroid Show. So literally next Saturday, I will be getting a bunch of Anthuriums as well as Aglaonema from them. And I'm super excited because growing my Anthuriums and even Aglaonema in semi-hydroponic substrates such as leca and pond has really made wonders for me in terms of just the care and upkeep of the plant. It's just made it so much easier. Now, this is starting to become one of my favorite Epipremnum aureum or pothos plant. This is the Neon Queen Pothos. Really like the look of this particular plant. It is absolutely gorgeous. Now, the thing about Neon Queen Pothos, in order for it to really keep that variegation, that light variegation, you've really got to give it a lot of bright indirect light. This one is only for $6.99 in a 4.5-inch planter. That is a really good price. So if you're going to ask me, that is, and the price is right for that. And then over here, we've got a Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. Love the look of a Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. Super easy plant to grow. This one is also for $6.99. I would say that is a cost-effective, budget-saving plant that you can buy and add to your plant collection. And, you know, this isn't as vigorous of a grower as, say, a pothos plant. And, you know, I've mentioned that a lot in all of my videos. But if you're going to ask me an easy care plant, a classic plant to add into your plant collection, this would be the plant to add. You know, Philodendron Hederaceums in general are easy to care for, pretty cost effective. They're readily available. There's some varieties such as like the Philodendron Hederaceum Gabi that's a little bit more uncommon, but for the most part you can find many varieties. So it looks like the Alocasia variegated Frydek has become more readily available. Now this one I believe is for $49.99. You can find variegated Frydek pretty much everywhere now. It's still pretty costly, but as compared to all the other I guess variegated Alocasias, it's still pretty cost effective. Now, I was gifted an Alocasia variegated Frydek from my friend Rena's greenhouse, a nursery based out in Florida. She gave that to me when I was out at PlantCon 2024 in Dallas. Super happy about that. And you can also see Monstera Thai constellation. So this is pretty much a common Monstera now. Now, as far as the price, it's not nearly as inexpensive as, say, a Monstera deliciosa, but it's so cool to see that this plant is readily available. I love the variegation on it, and it's stable. Epipremnum aureum Neon Queen Pothos. I mean, this is another new release pothos, and what I'm loving is the fact that, like, Costa Farms, for instance, has released a new pothos. There's a lot of Epipremnum aureum that are being released in the market. Obviously, there's a bunch of Japanese pothos, like the Taruna World Series pothos. I am so excited to go see my friend May, who actually is a licensed distributor seller of the Japanese pothos at Texas Aroid Show. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then right over here again, we've got some more Philodendron Hederaceum hanging baskets. These are all for $29.99 in 8-inch planters. And as far as the 8-inch planters for $29.99, I am going to hold off on that because I do feel like I can get a better price for that. I've seen Urban Jungle hanging basket plants for $12.99 at a grocery store called Kroger. And if you've been watching my videos, Plant Foldies, you already know if the price is right, I'm definitely going to buy it or have a high likelihood of doing so. But since I am pretty much in a big box store, grocery store, local nursery, somebody's house, buying plants, whatever venue it is, I know that I am spending incredibly way too much money on plants. So it's all about trying to at least get the best plant pricing. So with that being said, if you are a local in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel with the notification bell on. And actually, if you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, have the notification bell on, so whenever I upload a new video or if I premiere, typically I try to premiere at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way. You will at least be notified and you'll be able to stay up to date with the plant content that I am creating. Now, I did buy all of the different types of Sansevieria starters right here. These are for $3.99. I have some spaces in my house that are a little bit darker, and these plants will be able to at least survive and tolerate it. Will they thrive? Not necessarily, but I can still keep a plant alive there. Sansevieria trifasciata, these are nice starter plants. You can actually they're more drought tolerant for sure. They are low light tolerant, and they are an easy to care for plant. It's typically marketed as an easy to care for plant. I would say though that even though it is a plant that can really tolerate long drought spells, you still need to water that plant on a consistent basis, not too much. Like, I would let it dry out completely and then wait about 2 weeks and go ahead and water it again. That way it doesn't get dry root rot. And over here, we've got a variegated Hoya carrii. That's super cute. Love the heart shape of that. And I was able to find one for an inexpensive price at a grocery store called Kroger. And then we have a bunch of desert rose or adeniums. These are for $12.99. So this one has a picture of the bloom, which is really nice. This is for $12.99. And I was actually tempted to purchase one of these today and create like a desert rose bonsai, but winter is coming. And the thing about winter is, temps start to really drop low, and then it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge for me to overwinter a lot of my plants that typically need to be grown outdoors. And even though I do have a plant room, my plant room has pretty much filled up. I'm probably going to need to put like some floating shelves to like maintain it. But as far as like growing a desert rose bonsai, I would love to do it. I love the fact that Callaway's has these starters for a pretty good price, but it's going to be one that I'm going to have to hold off until spring. With desert rose, they do prefer to be on the drier side. They need quite a bit of light. If you can give them full sun, they will love it. And they're pretty easy to propagate as well. You can see over here they have the pink blooms right here. They've got some bicolor flowers, so there's many different varieties of desert rose. I am looking for a variegated desert rose, so if I run into one at Texas Aeroid, I may end up just buying it. And if I'm going to grow a desert rose in my home, I definitely need to grow it under a grow light because they do require quite a bit of light for them to really do well. But overall, desert rose is an easy to care for plant, especially if you're going to grow them outdoors in full sun. Another thing about desert rose is when you make cuts or like cuttings, make sure you don't get the sap on your skin. It's because it's kind of toxic and it's really going to irritate your skin. And as I walk around here, you can see that they have larger desert rose with larger caudex or trunks. This one's for $49.99. These are the Thai varieties of desert rose. And what I love about desert rose is they literally can withstand long bouts of drought. They hold a lot of water, and you can see this one right here is about to bloom. Desert rose is one that my grandmother has actually in her collection, and she has one that has a really large caudex. She's had it for years, and that's another plant I definitely want to feature when I see her next week. Dracaena Janet Craig compacta, beautiful plant, $34.99. You can see how compact the leaves are, and it's just a nice green plant. And that's the thing about green plants. Some people will not really be interested in them. A lot of us have that natural inclination to want to get a variegated type plant, but the green plants are going to be more vigorous and easy to take care of because they have green, which means they'll have more chlorophyll, which means they're able to feed themselves, and it's just going to be a more healthy plant, or at least a faster growing plant. Echeveria looks really nice, and then we have some more Philodendron Pink Princess. Now, with Philodendron Pink Princess, these ones are for $19.99. As you can see, there's not really a lot of pink variegation. So as far as this lineage of Pink Princess, I wouldn't really recommend purchasing it because the Philodendron Pink Princess, it's not really the amount of light you give the philodendron. It's really the initial genetics of the plant, whether it's going to go push out more pink variegation and whatnot. So as you can see here, it is a beautiful morning, and I'm just going to pan around here and show you some more plants. One plant that I do want to get is a neon Epipremnum pinnatum neon, and then these are palms We also have this right here. This is some type, somebody told me that it's more of like a ginger plant. This one is for $14.99. And you know, I do like the texture of the leaves. It also has more of like a velvety look about it. Really nice looking plant. That's a plant I would definitely add to my plant collection at some point. They had the variegated varieties as well, and you know, that's the thing I love about Callaway's nurseries. I'm really fortunate that I can be in an area, North Dallas, where there's literally a Callaway's nursery within a 10 to 15 minute radius of where I'm based at. And there are several locations. The locations are typically full. They have pretty much the same plants, but they're always pretty much restocked. And it's just a really nice place to support a local nursery. While it is a local nursery, a chain of nurseries, I still like the fact that if you're not shopping at a big box store, you can go to a nursery like this where they just have so many varieties of plants. Like this one is for $16.99. This is an Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue. You know, I remember when Cebu Blue pothos was like a big plant find whenever you would find it in a hanging basket by Costa Farms. I have yet to see Cebu Blue pothos in a hanging basket by Costa Farms. I kind of wish Costa Farms would release some of their old school hanging baskets, old school plants. I get that they're releasing a bunch of Costa Farms trending tropicals, but it would be nice to see some of the classics that they used to release. Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil. This one's for $16.99 in a 6-inch planter. Really nice, full, bushy plant. You know, with Philodendron Hederaceum, if you grow it up a totem pole or a moss pole, it's going to have a larger leaf shape, and you're going to really see the full potential of the plant. Same thing with the Epipremnum aureum Neon Queen pothos. This is again for $16.99. Really like the look of this plant, and this is another plant that I would definitely recommend anybody who's getting into pothos to add to their collection. Again, light is very crucial to this plant maintaining its beautiful variegation. You want to make sure that you provide it with quite a bit of light. What I do love about this is you see how this has a lot of trailing vines already. You can literally chop that up and make multiple new Epipremnum aureum Neon Queen pothos. That's when you know that you've just been tongue twisted, or just have some of the plant names are really interesting. But you know, Epipremnum aureum Neon Queen, it kind of just rolls out of your tongue when you're like Epipremnum aureum. I don't know if you agree with me. Plant foldies though, if you did make it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button for my video. Again, it really does help with the engagement. It definitely helps push this video to more plant lovers like yourself. And if you are a fan of podcasts, we are going to be releasing a podcast called the Cultivation Corner, featuring Janae Simone and Steven of I Live Plants. We are going to be the trio that is going to be talking about all things plant related. And I am so excited about this new project. Make sure you are subscribed to all 3 of our channels with the notification bell on. We are going to have, I think, weekly episode videos of different plant topics. But going back to this, notice how this one's an Epipremnum aureum Marble Queen pothos. This one is also for $16.99. I honestly prefer the Neon Queen pothos because I do prefer more of the aurea or yellow tone about it. But needless to say, having these 6-inch planters of pothos plants, I mean, I'm almost tempted to go buy more. And if you're going to ask me plants that you could have multiples of, Epipremnum aureum are definitely plants that I would have multiples of, because why not? They're very easy to take care of. They're readily available, and I just love them. And then over here we have some more bonsai. Again, you can see that this is another starter bonsai. I would say it's definitely in its infant stages as far as shapes. And then this is another variegated Ficus benjamina bonsai. This is for I believe $29.99. I'm actually tempted to purchase it because it's already in a shape to where you can put that as a bonsai, and then all you would need to do is wire it up to give it more more of a unique shape. Like, I would definitely wire this up, but the fact that it's already in a bonsai container, that's a good start for it. I do love that it's variegated, with the ficus. Variegated Ficus benjamina, you definitely want to give it quite a bit of light for it to really survive. So if you're going to try to grow this indoors, for instance, you're going to have to make sure it's near a south-facing window or right under a grow light. Otherwise, it's not going to do nearly as well as maybe something, that is non-ficus. With anything ficus related, the rule of thumb is more light, more bright light. Some of them might even like full sun. So just keep that in mind. plant foldies. And that's the thing about different types of plant species. You can't assume that all plant species have the same care tips, but they do have similarities. You know, an example would be like Dracaena. So most Dracaenas are low light tolerant and drought tolerant. However, for instance, the Dracaena Florida Beauty, that's one that needs to be a little bit more watered, and it definitely needs more light. Pachira aquatica, or the money tree plant, it's an easy to care for plant. That's the braided form, and you see right here we have a golden pothos for $6.99, and that's actually a really good price considering it's pretty full already. I would say Callaway's Nursery, when it comes to their pothos plants, especially in the local Dallas-Fort Worth area, they probably have the most cost-effective plant pricing for pothos plants. So that's something I would recommend. Everybody needs to get a golden pothos. Golden pothos is a classic plant. It's a plant that we all need to add to our plant collection. Same thing with Monstera Adansonii. As you can see right there, we've got a Monstera Adansonii and also a golden pothos. I did want to ask our viewers that are watching this video today, what are you most excited about when it comes to collecting plants? Do you like seeing new growth? Do you like the plant propagation? What is it about plants that like really does bring you joy or gets you excited? For me, it is seeing new growth on a plant. It is seeing a plant that maybe was struggling that makes a comeback. Other things that got me excited about plants is just seeing the propagation success, being able to take like a full vine and then propagating it and making another plant. And also for me, just growing plants and sharing plants, talking about plants on a daily basis has become a regular daily routine for me. That brings me a lot of joy. It brings me a lot of joy that a lot of y'all will literally invest your evenings chatting on the live premiere chats, giving me words of encouragement, and just really validating that maybe the daily content that I attempt to give you guys actually impacts each of you in some positive way. And that's really why I do a lot of my plant shopping videos. I have so many projects that are installed for this channel. I just can't believe that it's going over, it's about to be a year since I started doing plant content. And with Callaway's Nursery, this one's for $19.99, this Philodendron Summer Glory, for instance. Callaway's Nursery just makes it easy for me to create that content, to be able to showcase these plants. Now, for instance, this Philodendron Summer Glory, I think it is one of the more underrated philodendrons. And what I like about it is it has beautiful veining. I think it's much easier to take care of as compared to like a Philodendron Gloriosum, which kind of has a similar look to it, except the Philodendron Gloriosum has more velvety texture. But as you can see around here, any Callaway's Nursery that you go to in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is always going to be pretty full of plants. Ficus lyrata, that is another classic plant. That was like the interior design plant. Everybody had to get a Ficus lyrata or a fiddle fig leaf tree. It's not as fussy for me as I thought it would be. Now, as far as Ficus lyrata, if you are going to put it in your home, make sure you put it in a bright light space, and don't move it around. It just likes to stay in one spot. Otherwise, it can become unhappy. Aglaonema silverado, $16.99. I'm trying to find one that doesn't really have damage to its leaves, because I would love to add that to my collection, even though it's more of like a lighter blue grayish tone, beautiful Aglaonema. And I have gone Aglaonema crazy because I have been looking Aglaonemas to buy online. I'm going to the Texas Aeroid show. I'm going to big box stores and buying Aglaonema. And so I probably need to slow down a little bit. Whenever you have plant addictions, it's like you want to buy every single plant in that specific plant species or genus. Now, Dieffenbachia, $16.99. This Tropic Marianne is so beautiful. Look at that. Love the look of that plant. It almost reminds me of a bright looking Aglaonema. Now with Dieffenbachia, a lot of bright indirect light. It is spider mite prone, so if you're going to grow them indoors, make sure you're spraying them with neem oil or some type of pest preventative spray, and also making sure that you can increase the humidity levels in where you grow it. It's going to be a lot happier, and you're going to have a higher chance of preventing it from going to plant heaven. That's the same thing with the Xanthosoma. Like my Xanthosoma that I just passed by right there is doing okay. Calathea dotty. So my large Calathea dotty that I bought at Home Depot for $18.84, Yeah, there are signs of browning and crisping, and it's because I don't have the humidity levels that I need to in order for it to sustain. So I am gonna have to move it into my plant room. Now my Calathea rospicta, this one right here that's in my plant room that has about 60 to 65 humidity levels, has done very well. And, you know, I'm super happy about that. Beautiful plant. I mean, you know, Calatheas are the biggest heartbreakers in the plant world for me. They just, you know, no matter how beautiful their foliage is, they're just so challenging to grow long term. Aglaonemas, on the other hand, this is an Aglaonema Romeo. They have one that looks similar to this, where it's the Aglaonema Juliet. It's a little bit smaller and the leaves are a little bit more narrow. Beautiful plant, $16.99. And even the green Aglaonemas, I feel like are stunning. I love that they've got that minty green tone, and this is one of the easiest plants to grow. Plant foldies, if you have been watching my videos and you still don't have an Aglaonema, please definitely consider it. But as you can see right here, so many different plants. Super excited that we have these plants available at Callaway's. This is another one, an Aglaonema, $12.99. This is another Aglaonema of some sort. Really like the look of it, and it looks like there's 2 or 3 Aglaonema here. So what you can do is separate it, put it in leca or hydroponic substrate like pond, and you are good to go. And then over here we've got some bromeliads. What else do we have over here? Just more plants, and obviously Ming Aurelia is looking nice, and it is fall season, so all of these mounds or chrysanthemums are looking stunning. I am really tempted to purchase a chrysanthemum, but I feel like I don't really want to invest the money to buy one as like an annual plant. I would, if I'm going to grow a mum, I would have to put it in the ground, so that way it's a perennial and it'll come back year after year. I'm just curious, plant foldies, how much money do you actually have available for your plant budget? Do you budget plant cost per month? I mean, what does that all look like? Because for me, I have gone rampant with all of my spending on my plants, but I still have to think, if they bring me a lot of joy and they're keeping me productive, they're keeping me and giving me routines, daily routines, then I don't think it's too bad. I mean, as long as I don't go too overboard, I think I'll be all right. Assorted cactus and succulents. Again, I don't know a lot about succulents and cactus, but I do like to feature them in my videos because we do have plant foldies that like cactus and succulents. And then I'm going to spin around here, and there are some more large Aglaonema. This is an Aglaonema Silver Bay classic plant. It's probably one of the most common Aglaonemas you'll find, aside from the Aglaonema Red Siam. That is a plant that can tolerate lower light conditions. It can get large, and look at how beautiful the leaves are. And then we're going to pass by here. We've got some Sansevieria trifasciata. We've got some Raven ZZs. And then we have this massive looking Philodendron Rojo Congo. Beautiful plant as well. It's another plant that I would recommend in anybody's houseplant collection, as long as you have the space for it. That's the only thing about these larger Philodendron. You've got to plan for the space because they get quite large. And this one is only for $39.99. So that's actually a really good price for a 10-inch planter of Philodendron Rojo Congo. See right here, you can see right here, plant foldies, Monstera Esqueleto. This is 50% off. That's a really good value. It looks like all the Monsteras in this Callaway's are 50% off. That is one plant I do want to add to my collection. I mean, look at how massive the leaves are. Definitely a giant version of a Monstera Adansonii, but the Esqueleto is king when it comes to those fenestrations. And you can see right over here, we've got larger green shields. Mine's doing well. It is another plant that will let you know when it is thirsty. All of the leaves will start to droop, but at least it's been doing well for me. Some people say that it is more of a challenging plant, but surprisingly, it's done well for me growing in my plant room. And then as I spin around here, you can see that neon colored plant, that is a Dracaena Limelight, beautiful plant. And then we're going to walk over here and take a look at some more Aglaonema. This one is an Aglaonema White Rain. You can see that it's got white stems. It looks similar to an Aglaonema Silver Bay. And then we have some more Ficus lyrata over here, large Aglaonemas. We've got some Aglaonema Red Siams right here. That is one of the more common Aglaonemas. I recently acquired a couple of Aglaonema Red Siam. It is a classic Aglaonema, and it's one that I feel like is just underrated. All Aglaonemas I feel like are underrated. Same thing with Dracaenas. I mean, look at this beautiful Dracaena Limelight. Absolutely stunning plant. That's another plant that I feel like we need to add to our plant collections. And I'm just going to keep walking over here and showing you some more plants. And in plant foliage, you can see lots of chrysanthemums and mums. It is the fall season. I'm curious if anybody already has a bunch of mums in their plants, plant collection. You can grow these indoors, but they really prefer to be outdoors. Make sure you are watering them. But if you're going to water them, try to water them in the base rather than to their blooms. Otherwise, some of their blooms might actually impact the blooms. Here are some coleus plants, Coleus Alabama, and these are supposed to be for $12.99, but I do believe they are on sale for $9.99. Really nice looking pot of Coleus Alabama. This is another coleus that can take full sun, and look at how the new growth has that neon green leaf, and then it darkens to more of that burgundy reddish tone. Love that. And coleus plants, I tell you, plant foldies, they are a plant that are easy to take care of, very, very easy to propagate, and one that I think people don't really consider as an indoor plant or a plant that you would grow indoors, but you can actually grow these indoors, really add some color to your space. I know a lot of people are more so into the aeroids, but coleus, there's so many different varieties, so many different hybrids, so many ways to get these to hybridize because they bloom pretty easily. So if you're able to cross pollinate these coleus plant, you might get some really nice looking foliage. I wasn't really into coleus plants. Now, where my family's from, which is the Philippines, we call coleus plants Mayana plants, and these can just grow year round, all year long. Coleus plants are typically considered annuals if you're going to grow them in my grow zone, which is 8B. But as you can see right here, so many different textures, varieties, shapes, and colors, and it's a really good plant. It's definitely an inexpensive, cost-effective, money-saving plant, budgeting plant. All of those adjectives I can mention, and you can see that there's many different varieties. This is the trusty rusty, really interesting plant. Now with coleus plants, the more bright indirect light you do give it, the better the coloration is going to be for a coleus plant. That is just a rule of thumb. And with coleus plants, some of them are sun coleus or coleus that can grow in the sun. So if you have one that takes full sun, even better. I believe this green variety here can take full sun, and look at how beautiful that is. Love the textures. Coleus plants, I had this coleus obsession earlier this spring where I would literally just feature coleus plants, and they're back at it. So that is the reason why plant foldies, I am talking about coleus plants again. Highly recommend these. I would definitely grow them as a house plant. I have some growing indoors and they are doing fabulous. The only thing about coleus plants is you do need to water them pretty much daily. They do not like to dry out completely. So if you like this video, plant foldies, please hit the like button. I hope you enjoyed this installment today, as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel at Grow Folds. This is Richie. I'll see you on a new one tomorrow.